Welcome, family, to our 10-minute table talk. I am Pastor Holman. Thank you very much for joining us here today. Today, I want to talk to you from the subject of why the world needs real men. In 1 Kings chapter 2, verse number 2, David is writing, and he says, I am about to go all the way of the earth. So therefore, be strong and prove yourself a man. A male is born, but a man is developed. Development is the process that creates growth, progress, positive change, or in addition to physical, economic, and environmental and social components. A male in his maturation must develop character traits that enable him to be productive in life. The Greek word for character is a word that originally is used to describe an engraving tool or an impression left by the engraving tool. In Scripture, the word character means an expressed image, and it is referred to in Hebrews chapter 1, verse number 3 as talking about the expressed image of God. God created men and women to be different. This may seem obvious, but in our culture today, that no longer is the truth. Amid raging societal debate about gender and sexual identity, it is not hard to see that many young men lack strong, formative male influences in their lives that previous generations enjoyed. Gender does matter. Manhood and womanhood matter because the Creator decided that it should matter. By design, the self-image of God planted into all human beings has a male and a female expression. Why the world needs strong men. Not just any kind of man, but a strong man. David is getting ready to die, and he calls his son Solomon to his chambers. He gives Solomon this list of things that he wants him to do. But first and foremost, he tells Solomon that I, your father, am going the way of all the earth. In other words, everybody at one point in time is going to pass by way of death. He said, but as I am dying, as I am transitioning, here are my last words to you, Solomon. Be strong and prove yourself to be a man. Unfortunately, in our culture today, we have mixed men and women and placed them in the same sphere. But from the beginning of time, men and women were to be different with completely different roles. Unfortunately, we have now entered into a space in our time where men are doing women things and women are doing men things, and neither one knows what they are doing. But God has created us with specific design and purpose. And you will never be more powerful than when you are walking in the authority and design by which God has given you. God created you to be a man. God created you to be a woman, and He did that for very particular reasons. That men and women are essential for the building up and for the fulfillment of Genesis chapter 1, verse 28, when He told Adam and Eve, be fruitful and multiply, subdue the earth and fill it. Without man and woman, without the man walking in his assignment and the woman walking in her assignment, there can never be a completion of the assignment by which God gave. There are essential roles that the man must play. There are essential roles that the woman must play. And unfortunately, we are living in a time where the lines have been blurred. It is okay, because it is a godly design, to be happy with being a man. It is okay because it is a godly design to be happy with being a woman. It is okay to walk in the authority and the power by which God has given us. David is saying to his son Solomon, I'm not desiring that you be a millionaire or a CEO or a Fortune 500 company. I'm desiring that you be strong and prove yourself to be a man. Because one of the deficit needs in our world today is real men. And I'm not talking about the real man that notches up the things on his belt by how many women that he sleeps with. I'm not talking about the macho man who's got muscles bulging out of every part of his body. I'm not talking about the guy who is extremely skilled in fighting. I'm talking about a man that understands his role, his function, and his responsibility, and naturally gravitates to those responsibilities. That's a real man. I'm talking about a man that will never run away from his responsibilities. He will fall on the sword when it needs to be done. He will be the one that anybody has to go through in order to get to the ones in which he loves. I'm talking about a real man. I'm talking about a real man that understands the role of a man. And when David is talking to his son Solomon, he is informing him that what this world needs are strong men. Make no mistake about it. The world in which we live in right now has been fortified by strong men. The sense of security that we all enjoy right now has been fortified by strong men. God gave through Jesus Christ his word to strong men to go into the uttermost parts of Jerusalem and duplicate what he had told them. Strong men. But now, unfortunately, in 2022, we are feminizing our young boys. We are telling them that it's okay to be feminine. We are taking away the masculine traits that come along with being a male. We're taking away those distinct characteristics that come along with being a young boy. We say things like toxic masculinity, or we say things like too much aggression, when these are natural aspects of being a male and designed by God. In the book of Genesis, chapter number 2, God tells Adam to tend and keep the garden. The word keep there in Hebrew is a word for protect. God instructed Adam to protect what he gave him. And oftentimes you have to protect what God has given you as a man. The world is in desperate need of strong men. And not just strong men, but strong biblical men. And I believe it is one of the things by which we find ourselves in today, is that we're not raising strong boys to be strong men. Women have now taken the role of trying to raise a boy into a man. And just like a father can't raise a daughter into a young woman, so cannot a woman raise a young boy into a young man. Males need males for strong leadership. As I've discussed with the men, I want to discuss this with you as well. We talk about 16 I will statements as men. These are 16 deliberate, intentional acts that we will do as men to be the men that God has called for us to be. We will be the leaders of our home. We will be the godly priests, providers, and protectors that God has assigned for us to be. We will stand unashamed and declare that we are godly men. I, am personally committing to 21 weeks of discipleship. I will honor my word. I will fully engage in this process. I will do the necessary work. I will honor my God. I will honor my family. I will honor myself. I will be a man of character. I will be a man of influence. I will be a godly man. I will seek God. I will learn of my purpose. I will be a servant of my God. I will actively participate in the ministry for the glory of God. I will lay aside my own selfish desires in exchange for God's plan. I will commit to the process of biblical discipleship, I will take a deep look into my personal self and deal with the issues of my past, my present, in order to be all that God desires for me. The making of a godly man. Why the world needs strong men who uncompromisingly hold to a belief that it is a much greater purpose outside of me that I stand and fight for. That God has placed upon my shoulders the weight and responsibilities of life. And I must therefore rise to the occasion and be the man that God has called for me to be. I must be the husband of one wife. I must honor my children and be the father that God has called for me to be. I must honor my friendships and be the brother that God has called for me to be. I must fall on the sword when danger comes. I will be the man that God has called for me to be. The world is in desperate need of real men. And if there's a real man, then on the flip side of it, there's a fake man. That fake man does not walk in the precepts of God. That fake man runs away from responsibility. That fake man does not understand his assignment. That weak man does not stand up under pressure. That pseudo man is not the man that will stand and put his life on the line in regards to others. Just like there's real men, there are also fake ones. But God is calling us to be real men. And this world, family, needs real men. Ladies, you have nothing to fear when you got a real man that is standing at his post and doing his assignment. Life becomes a whole lot more enjoyable when you have somebody that you know is doing what God has called for them to do. And SOS is going out to every real man. It's time for us to assume our rightful positions. It is time for us to be the priests, providers, and protectors of our homes. It is time for us to assume the leadership roles by which God has given us and to be accountable unto God for the lives in which we live. This is why the world needs real men. Everything will change when real men get in position. Until we see you next week, God bless you.